And hello, my name is Jeffery Simpson. The camera's there, so let's make sure we're not watching our screen.
That's a very awkward spot, okay.
I know, we're working on the layout of the room. We're actually moving to a different room. But that's not why you're here, to talk about architecture. This is the Puzzle Fighter stream. We are here. I'm the community manager of Puzzle Fighter, Jeffery Simpson. We're here with Dylan Matthews and Peter Cumcia, two designers on the game. And we are going to be showing off some really cool new stuff that's coming in very shortly into Puzzle Fighter. The big thing that we want to talk about is PvP events. That is not the biggest news, but that is kind of the headline feature, which we're talking about. And then we're going to show off something even more. So let's bring up the game here.
All right.
Here we go. So this is the 2.3 build, right, Peter?
Yeah, it's 2.3. This is a dev build, so it's still getting some polish, still getting some love, but we wanted to give you guys an advanced screening, basically. So
yeah, so this is a live dev build. That means this is all still software in progress. Some things might change. We may bump into a few bugs here and there that are still being ironed out. Yep. We could even crash. This is not the game in the store, so it's not as stable as that. So that's all the kind of preliminary warnings, just in case this goes something breaks. Normally, also we play with pre-recorded footage when we do these streams. Here, right now, we're streaming live via a software package called XMirage, which lets us stream via Wi-Fi right to our Twitch account. So we've got Chuck here. Peter, you were complaining about Chuck. Yeah. This is actually Dylan's account.
Too tight. 1 second.
Peter's pants are a bit tight.
Yeah. That's what happens,
That's what happens.
Yeah.
We're getting old. We're all slowly facing death. But Peter, what do we see here? We've seen a bunch of different stuff. So this is Chuck. We've got rewards buttons or little orbs. What do those stand for?
Well, let's take it once at a time.
All right, let's take it once. You tell me what's important here.
What's important? Well, first thing, if I'm looking at this for the first time, I'm like, wow, what happened?
Wow.
Completely different. This will be the new landing screen.
Okay.
Prior, you kind of had a menu prior. You had a screen before this. You had a kind of home screen, and then you had like the PvP lobby and the mission lobby. That's no longer the case. This is now where you load into the game right off the bat. You'll see that we've kind of transitioned all the menus of the screens to the bottom of the bar now. So you got from the left to right shop, you got your team select, your online play, your missions, and then finally your PvP events. So that's worth noting right now. And then, we just did some repositioning of certain things. Just trying to clean it up and simplify it. Down here on the fight button, you'll see the rewards. That's just an indicator for how many rewards are remaining in Honda's house. Yeah. We also got the quest button here. It's a little bit more prominent. I'm going to go ahead and open up this bad boy because there's been some things done here. One of the things you might see right off the bat is we now have a daily bonus. So this is available once per day. There's three rewards to collect. So you can go ahead and collect it. You get some good stuff.
All right.
And then shortly after you'll be able to collect your next one.
Now, is this going to be a new slot for the daily bonus, or is this taking up one of your existing quests?
This is a new slot, so it's not. You still get the 3 base and the 1 purchasable. So this is an additional slot that everyone gets for free. So we're pretty excited about that. And then pretty much it's all the same. So another thing we've done with this new menu is actually speed up the loading of the screens. They're quite quick now. And then if people remember, you kind of have to transition, and there's like a gem loading and whatnot. So you spent a lot of work this update just trying to optimize that, and get it to what we feel was a bit quicker, a bit more responsive. Of course, you got your shop. Nothing's really changed here. The buttons are kind of the top. You can see some dev stuff there, but that's the shop. Nothing really significant here.
All right.
Missions are all the same as well, still kind of layout. But again, you've seen that speediness. It might be a bit slower because we're streaming this onto another screen. So on my device, it's pretty much instant. So we're pretty, that's probably one of the biggest things we're excited about. Aside from that, we also show you how far you are now right by your rank. We've made the actual rank points that you have a lot bigger. And we're going to show you now the progress to your next rank. So you'll rank up in 260 points.
All right, excellent.
Yeah, so I thought, just a couple cool things. Anything you want to call out, Dylan?
No, I think that's everything.
That's good. Yeah, and then we kind of got rid of some buttons. We used to have the leaderboard button and whatnot. So now you can tap on your next rank to see the leaderboards.
Yeah.
And you can tap on the actual rank itself to see any rank info, what the rewards are, if there's any lockable characters and so forth.
Excellent.
Yeah, so it's pretty neat. We're pretty excited about that. So yeah, without any further ado, let's check out our latest feature.
All right. So this is these are PvP events. So this is player versus player events. Yep. Tell us a little bit about what it is.
So it's the first thing you'll note is that it's unranked. You can play in here. There's no ranking points to win or lose. All there really is rewards to gain. So we'll have 2 events that are kind of always running. These are our Novice Challenge and our Grandmaster Challenge. You do have to buy into them, but as you can see, the rewards are quite compelling. Like for 10 gems, you're gonna you get something right away. So if I enter this right away. Let's not enter that one. It's not working right now. If I enter that right away, you guaranteed some reward, and every win you get a bigger and bigger reward. So if you get 10 wins, you'll get this top prize.
Yeah.
Similarly, we have this special event running right now. It's currently called Honda's Classic Brawl. Do you want to talk a little about?
All right. So PvP events are the kind of the big overall headline thing. But one of the things we've added is classic mode as an event. This is the original kind of mode from the Puzzle Fighter arcade, from the classic PlayStation game.
Yeah.
We know people have been wanting stuff like taking out the health bars, taking out some of the moves. Tell us about classic mode. What is it? What's the difference if people aren't familiar?
Yeah. So one caveat there is it's as close as we can get it.
Yeah.
So there are limitations, like we only show one board. You don't see your opponent's board. So that's a big change. That allowed you to be a lot more reactive to what your player was doing, and knowing when they're about to do a big crash, maybe you crash a bit sooner. You still do have the mini map, but again, you don't have that side to side board. And we also introduced more balancing measures than what you have in Classic. In Classic, there's a couple characters like Chun-Li and Akuma that have timer gem modifiers.
Okay.
So we've expanded that out in order to make sure that all characters are viable. So for example, you can see Dan right here. Dan's got a really bad drop pattern, especially for Classic. So we've actually given him a bit of a balancing through these modifiers to make sure he's competitive. So really what we're trying to do is avoid scenarios where no one wants to play Bison or Hagar because their patterns are just suboptimal relative to, let's say, Ken. For those who did play Classic mode, Ken was probably arguably the most competitive character in the game. Maybe Donovan was kind of next, and if you're Kuma and Devilot are also viable because of their drop patterns. But again, those two who have really good drop patterns, they had mods on them, or at least Kuma did. So yeah, we basically want to run a this is still work in progress, but we basically apply these modifiers to make sure that they're all competitive.
Yeah.
As far as the mode itself goes, it's what you would expect. It's the same amount of timer gems and the chain bonuses and so forth that you get out of Classic in the PlayStation version. Of note, there's no level.
Okay.
So in this event, it's any of the pay to win concerns are completely removed from the equation. You're playing 100%, a fair match as far as that could, as fair as it can be, in that regard. And other things to note here is, again, these escalating rewards. So this is your base reward right here. This is what you'll get. This is what will increase per win. Yeah. And if you tap it, you'll see kind of the breakdown. You do end up getting rares and epics as you get further and further, down the line. And for special events, we also introduce these milestone rewards. So in this instance, if you win three matches, you'll get 1,000 coins. If you win all 12 matches, you'll get 20,000 coins. And there's also an epic chest and some epic cards that you can collect, through your progress. We'll have events running kind of on a weekly basis. They'll have different rules. They'll have different rewards. All the special events will be free. So Classic mode is free to enter for first time.
Yeah.
Once you get knocked out of the challenge, if you want to re-enter, it's very, very cheap, just 10 gems. And that's just to balance the fact that you're getting lots of rewards. You can re-enter subsequently unlimited amount of times. But again, all special events will always have a one-time free entry, just so we get everyone has a equal access effectively. But yeah, we're also with the daily bonus, for example, too. There's going to be a lot more gems available for free, so that's something to keep in mind. So there's a couple considerations there. So that's pretty much the rundown of classic mode. I think next step might be actually to play it.
All right.
Yeah, to give players a go.
And we'll do that next week. No, kidding. We'll do it right now.
Yeah. Well, that actually might do that. All right, so we'll go ahead and match.
Again, the caveat here is this is unreleased developer software. There could be a million things that go wrong. Yep. Hopefully a million things don't go wrong and it works perfect. But this is not the final software that you'll be playing when it comes to your phone.
It'll be far more stable. We're working very hard right now. While we're showing this, there are a lot of people doing some work.
The programmers, the server techs, they're all working really hard. Goofballs like me are just here commenting on this. So here we go. We see. So there's no health bars. That's
no health
you mentioned
bars.
it.
So one thing to note is you really want to avoid the drop lane in this mode. So the drop lane's the lane right here with the green gem.
Okay.
I think, especially when we were testing this, one of the tough things was to try to transition from our kind of old way of playing to I guess this is even older way. Okay, someone needs to just calm down a little bit. Turn it down a notch here, But yeah, we've been having quite a bit of fun playing this.
Now the win condition is overstack here, right?
That's correct.
So it's not about hitting your opponent as much as you can. It's not about healing like the puzzle fighter we've had mobile, but it's about making your opponent overstack, and that's a win for you.
Yeah.
Some weird stuff is happening on my game board right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was going to be like, how did you not? I mean, I feel like I should overstack you, but I guess not. No, what's going on?
There's just a lot of things that have broken, but they aren't actually broken. So I don't really know what my game board looks like. I can use your game board as as
I was going to say. Yeah, so we just did like last minute data fix that was a bit high risk. So that's kind of what's happening right now. But I mean, the name of the game here is, and it's going to be all worked out by the time we get this out.
Yeah.
The name of the game, as you can see, is kind of overstack your opponent, and I'm just hoping he doesn't overstack me right now. Now you're doing decent right now. Just a little, almost.
I think it's recovered.
You might even say like you're doing too well right now. Like you just need to.
I might.
Just a little bit. Just tone it down.
No, things got weird again. Oh.
Yeah, that's good. So yeah, we added this new ability to basically hide your opponent's board from them so they can't see it. So as Dylan's showing that off right now.
Yeah.
So that's completely an intended feature. We think it's brilliant.
Yeah. Blind classic mode.
Yeah, it's a skill that Ryu gets now. It's called flashbang. Oh my god. Okay, seriously, if you overstack me right now.
Ooh, it's close. Apparently, Dylan does not need to be able to see his board.
Okay, we're doing these.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, this is not good.
All right, turning the tables a little bit. So that's what we love about class. I mean, I think what fans love about classic mode really is that tension that you get in that last minute. Okay. Seeing what's happening right now. I'm not liking it.
I can't chain for the life of me if I'm trying to, but
okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was awesome.
This is Dylan has some bragging rights here now.
I mean, I was also doing a lot of talking, so I feel like
this is true. Yeah, it is.
I feel like
it is tough to talk and play something that we're familiar with.
Super focused.
But yeah, I mean that's pretty much classic mode. Our goal is to try to get it to as close to the original as possible, and it's pretty much the TLDR there. Yeah,
and so one of the nice things about this PvP events is it's going to let us, from what you were telling me yesterday, be a lot more experimental with the game, and that we could try something where we change the win condition, or we can change how drop patterns work, or we could change a bunch of different stuff in an event, run it as a test, maybe even introduce characters in an event before they're released generally.
Yeah, so I mean that's kind of our goal. Is we want it to be a means of kind of experimenting with new gameplay, with new rules, potentially with new character mechanics, and just rolling that out to public. Usually it's going to be time limited, so you can play for 3-4 days. We'll pretty much always include some pretty amazing rewards in there, and it's see how far you can get. See if you can get all 12 wins or whatever the requirements are. This is a triple elimination event. We actually do have single eliminations as well. They're really high reward, high stakes. So those are usually best of 6. But if you win them, I think grand prize is like 25,000 coins and a lot of cards.
All right.
Yeah.
So is there anything else coming? I was talking to Mabuso, one of our producers. We might as well just say a couple other things that are coming. I guess the big thing is iPhone X support was also coming in this.
Yep.
So, I just got an iPhone X recently.
Yeah.
It's, the screen's kind of square. You're missing out the top. We've added that in. We're not going to show that off at this point, but a lot of cool stuff's coming. And
we also got we are going to change the way you select your arenas.
That's right. Yeah. So this is, if you were in the soft launch, you might remember that you could pick your arena at any point, pick any arena.
Yeah.
And we're going back to that, correct?
Yeah, we're going back to it. I mean, we originally changed it because we thought it would provide a little bit more clarity. We have like certain rules in certain arenas. Like some of the beginning ranks have a little bit less timer gems, for example. So we thought that by having the arena kind of being consistent throughout the ranks to give you a bit more clarity into what potential rule sets might be applied. But we feel just like looking back at it and just evaluating that decision, we just feel like there's too much compromise on like giving the players the best possible experience. So, moving forward, like I said, the next version you're going to be able to actually select your arena. If Dylan has arena A and I have arena B, then it will just pick randomly between the two.
All right. So that's all we really have to show off.
Yeah.
We're going to take some questions. If you have questions about Puzzle Fighter for Dylan and Peter, ask them in the Twitch chat. We will do our best to address them. We're keeping this short because it is unfinished software. We don't really want to, spoil anything or show off it breaking. But we were happy to be able to get to show this because this is really exciting. I think this is going to be one of the biggest things that come to Puzzle Fighter since launch.
A lot of work's gone into this one. I don't know if the community's probably aware. It's been a little longer than we usually do an update once a month. It's been a little bit longer, and that's just to get this these features in and a lot of the polish and effort into getting it finished and finalized.
Yeah. All right, here we go. What is the incentive not to pick Jill for Classic since she has the best drop pattern?
So as we mentioned earlier, Jill has modifiers that impact the number of timer gems you might send or receive. So Jill, for example, she might have one of the best drop patterns in the game. Maybe just some insight on that process. We actually have a rank. We have a tier rank for every drop pattern. So we consider Jill to have the best drop pattern. We consider Ken to have a tier 2 drop pattern. So if Jill's tier 1, S tier. Ken is a tier A. He's an A tier. So anyone with that kind of vertical line, that's the second best type of drop pattern. So you got Phoenix Wright, you got Servbot, Nash to some extent, but Nash got the 2x3s in the top. Oh, yeah. So he's actually lower in tier. So we basically went and tiered all the drop patterns, and then based on that tiering system, we decided, how to, if Ryu is middle of the road, he's got a balanced or kind of a no advantage. He's a neutral drop pattern, so he has no mods. Anyone above him in terms of quality, so he's B tier. Anyone above B tier, so A and S, will have some modifiers applied to them. Anyone below would also have some positive modifiers applied to them. So that's why Jill won't be like the go-to.
Right.
Is because yes, Jill might have a great drop pattern, but she's also going to be 25. Sending 25% less or 25% more. Some a number of timer gems more or less. So she might be easy to overstack as a consequence of being so offensive.
All right. So will we be able to directly buy characters with gems again, or will they only be something possible through booster packs now? Is that something we want to talk about?
Yeah, we can talk about it. I mean, we just so all the characters, we do have direct character offers, so you can buy X directly from a character offer. We have the affinity boosters, so red, blue, green, yellow, that you could buy, which has a really high probability of giving you the character you want, especially if you are only missing one of the colors. And that's likely in the moving forward in the near future. That's likely how it will stay.
Will you do more about lag? I guess I'll take this one. Lag's something that we know affects a lot of players in the community. We've definitely seen the videos on Reddit and stuff. It is something that all games have to deal with, especially mobile games, because you don't have that dedicated connection through an ADSL line or something. But it's something that we are always working to address. There's nothing specific, high-level, kind of big in this coming patch to deal with lag. We tried to do it with our last update. It didn't seem to have solved it for most people, although some people have reported improvements. We're going to keep working. We've got something else in the works that I think when we release it is going to hopefully improve the play experience for a lot of people. We do understand that lag's a bummer. We all hate lag in all of our games. So we're always trying to make that better. And that's unfortunately we can never promise 100% lag free. That's probably never going to happen.
It's impossible as long as you have geographical distance between two players. Yeah.
So, but we're going to do our best to deal with that and address it.
Yeah.
All right. There's a lot of questions coming. So, if I miss something, forgive me. Questions. Plans to buff lower tier characters such as X and Frank.
We're always looking at the tier list, and as we've shown in the past, we've always had that cadence of trying to take some of those lower tier characters and bring them up. So that will continue to be our practice for sure.
Any news on legendary skill cards?
Nothing to talk about right now.
All right, nothing we can talk about at this point. I would love to hear the decision-making behind the Beautiful Joe 2X change. Is that something... The
Beautiful Joe 2X change?
Yeah. I'm not actually quite... is that something we can talk about?
I don't know 2X. I mean, 2X, like the two-time chain, I mean? What specifically?
Be a bit more specific. This is Pink Us, if you can be a bit more specific on that question. How much counter gems will be in chains in this classic mode?
It's all the modifiers are what you would expect in classic. So maybe some insight into that. We toned it down for the standard game just because it interfered too much with the skill building. Like in classic Puzzle Fighter, it's all about the overstack. Adding a new element of gameplay, the number of timer gems that you would have received had we had classic mode modifiers would have just made it too overwhelming, too difficult to actually execute a skill. So that was, it will be classic timer gems, classic chain bonuses, classic amount of timer gems produced from like a 2x4, so forth.
So this is a clarification question. Some people know this, but you mentioned how the different leagues have different drop gem amounts.
Yep.
So can you just kind of clarify what we're talking about there? Because it's not necessarily specifically tied to the stage itself. It was just the stage were a visual way to represent that.
So each league has certain modifiers. It's just really the first couple of leagues. And it's displayed, if you go to the league info, you'll see the modifiers displayed there. We just believe that by attaching the arena to that league, you'd have consistency. Okay, I'm playing on arena A. I know that this is what I can expect. That was kind of some of the decision behind that, or the reasoning behind that. Yeah.
So, and part of that was for new players who weren't used to this to kind of ease them into having gems drop on them out of the nowhere if they weren't familiar with why that was happening. Question, can I have some free chests? Not right now, no.
If you play the events, you might be able to earn some chests.
Exactly, yeah. We might have some other ways of giving out chests, but not currently. What are some dream characters you'd like to add? I think the problem with that question is that then it gets too into what characters we might be adding. But maybe for each of you, is there a character we haven't added yet that you would like to see in the future? This is not a confirmation of anything. Yeah. This is just throwing out like, hey, here's a character I think would be cool.
What do you think, Don?
I'm a huge Street Fighter V fan.
Yeah.
I love. I would love to get Armika in the game. I think she could be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Or Akuma, who's my current main in Street Fighter V. So I'd like to have some Akuma action in Puzzle Fighter.
He's pretty classic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I like Donovan.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. When I played classic, I don't know. Maybe I was just trying to go against the. Donovan's pretty competitive, but I don't know. I was trying to make him work in classic. Donovan, or maybe like I don't know. I feel like if going to Street Fighter, like I've always wanted to see like a grappler like Zangief or something in the game.
Yeah.
I'll pick like a general type of character. I would love to see one of the Mega Man something man bad guys, like a Woodman or something. Those guys you don't really see in any other games. They're just there to be the boss for one level. I think that'd be very good. I would like to learn more about their interior lives. I think you could do a lot of fun things with the drop pattern for Woodman, for example. Yeah. Obviously, he'd be green affinity.
And if you beat him, you get his special power for
exactly.
Makes sense.
All right. Can the method of aggregating timer gems into larger gems be redefined? It seems heavily skewed against Bison players, which arguably have the hardest power gem to create.
Sorry, you're talking about gem reforming?
Yeah.
Can it be redefined? I mean, something we're working on. We did do a change, I think, back in 2.2. We're looking at coming up with a method that's most optimal for all players. And I think we've talked about this in the past, and that's, when you do convert to timer gems via stun, in an ideal world, you'll revert back to whatever shape you were at, if possible. However, there's always a possibility that you broke one of the gems, so it's no longer possible to get back to your old shape, in which instance we would have to have an optimization or some sort of algorithm to determine what the shapes of the gems will be. So we're working on, that's still a work in progress type thing, but when we do release something, we want to make sure it's a 100% positive. There's very few negatives on it. Whereas when we did our last, I think 2.2, there was some concern that it would benefit certain characters over others based on how we were now reforming. So it's a work in progress. The most ideal situation is we just form back to what you had, so there's no there's no real issues. Stun's not intended to reshape gems. It's not one of the primary functions of it. It's a side effect of it. So we're looking at trying to minimize that side effect.
So this is a question. Honda's Classic is like a weekly event, and what will happen when the event is over? Will the Classic mode still be in there for an option for friendly matches? How is it handled?
Right now, it's just going to be an on-off situation. So once the event's over, it wouldn't be accessible until the next time it's running. That said, we're still considering a lot of factors here. Yeah. So we'll see what the demand's like, whether players are really engaged. There are other types of events that we'll be running too, so it's not like, there's nothing in its place type deal. So that's something to consider as well. We're looking, we're now analyzing that still. Yeah.
So I think we've got clarification on the Beautiful Joe question. You guys posted changes for Beautiful Joe, that his 2x skill has become sap instead of stun. Talk about that or address the mistake.
His 2x skills become sap instead of stun? I don't think we posted anything about that, and I don't believe that's
Could that be in the... Oh, that might be in the skill icon that we have. So that might be a mistake. So what is it supposed to be? Or what is it?
It hasn't changed, so if it's stun, it's stun. That's what it'll be in the game.
All right. All right. So we will check that out and correct that.
Yeah, so just to confirm, no changes occurring to...
No changes.
2x chain.
All right.
That's why I was a bit confused. I'm like, what's happening here? Did we change something?
Huh. All right. Can you talk about balance changes to Hager's drop pattern? Are there any changes planned for Hager's drop pattern?
No, nothing planned right now. Nothing that we want to talk about. I mean,
Yeah.
We will be doing a balance update in the near future. When we have more details on that, we'll share that in a separate stream.
Did I miss a new character? No, we haven't shown off a new character. The last character was Devilot. We've got more on the way, but nothing that we're showing off today. Can you talk about the state of chaining and adding more orbs? So I don't know quite what they want to hear, but can you talk about that?
I believe a change actually already has gone out in 2.2.2 most likely. That actually does increase the orb probability very slightly. So we're just analyzing that through the data before we finalize it. But you should be seeing an increase in double orb crash gems.
All right. There we go. I think we've hit most of the questions. Last moment for any questions. I'm sure I've missed a ton. But can you talk about back-end architecture? That we're not the people who are going to be able to talk about back-end architecture. That's like, and we may bring other people on in the future, but that would be like a DJ question or something like that. We're, these guys are designers. I'm the community manager. We are unable to talk about that. Azur's Wrath PC port. No, nothing we can talk about. That's not in our ballpark. I know you ask every time, and every time I can't give you an answer on that. Sorry. Spectate mode. That's a feature that's definitely on the list of stuff we'd like to do one day. But it's not this build, not the nearest future, but it's definitely on a list. I think a lot of those tournament or player versus player features are kind of on that list. More about lag, and again, I can't really say anything else beyond it's an issue we're continuing to work on, and hopefully we can get something sorted on that. Do you plan on adding more chaining characters?
Yes.
Yeah. And I think one of the cool things is certainly I've seen you guys experimenting with what characters can do beyond what we've seen already, like a lot of new mechanics, a lot of new stuff. Nothing to say. All right. That is, I think, everything. Replay mode, I think, goes along with that. Why is my question getting ignored? I'm not sure. Are classic mode and the new UI part of the same release or different? So they're all part of the next release. Yeah. So that's all. They were playing a build that's basically our next build. It's going to be refined, updated a bit, and then that's going to go live when we push it live. So it's all part of the same thing. It's all 2.3, which will be out soon. When does it go live? We're not going to give an exact date, but it's very soon. Yeah. We will let you know much closer to release, but it is soon. I know we say soon a lot, but it is soon. Soon enough that we're showing it off now. We're pretty confident in it. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and we will be back. We're going to be back next week to show off some stuff and to do some stuff. Thank you for tuning in. Every Wednesdays we're here playing Puzzle Fighter or doing something from Capcom Vancouver. Again, this is Dylan. This is Peter. They're designers on Puzzle Fighter. I'm Jeffery Simpson. I'm the community manager. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you later.